everybody and welcome to my library. I'm Sandra Schwab and this is the first installment of Weekend Reads. Now this weekend I had to do my taxes, so I didn't really have a lot of time to read, but I did manage to squeeze a few things in. The first book I finished was actually a reread, and it's this one, Merecedes Lackey's Magic Price. It is the last part of the Last Herald Mage trilogy, and it is one of my favourite fantasy novels ever. It's got such a wonderful hero. Vaniel was, I think, the first gay hero in fantasy fiction. The story itself, the whole trilogy, is very sad, and there is this sense of loss that prevails in the whole trilogy. But at the same time, it's such a sweet story, and there is a very, very sweet subplot, romance subplot in this one, which is why I like this so much. But even if the ending always makes me cry, but well, sometimes you have to pay the price for a good novel. The other book, the second book I read, at least partly, is called KARTOGRAPH, and it is by a Japanese author, Jiro Taniguchi, or Taniguchi. I'm really bad with names. So, as you can see, this is this is the German edition. It is a manga. You can see this here. And it's also got a few coloured pages. Let me see whether I can find one for you. I really like the style of illustration, and I also really like the story. The whole book is divided into shorter bits and pieces. The pace of the stories is very contemplative, and the main character is the man who in the early 19th century did the first map of Japan. So this is wonderful. This is really highly recommended. It is so different, and it gives us a very nice insight into the culture of early 19th century Japan, in particular of early 19th century Tokyo, Edo. So this is, yeah, this was such a good find. I really like this one. Now the other book I have started to reread is Dorothy Gilman's The Unexpected Mrs. Pollifax, and actually this is a brand new novel. I just got it on Wednesday, but I read the German edition. This is the German edition, and I read this 25 years ago. I was staying, at the time, I was staying in Spain with my parents, my aunt. I was on holiday with my parents, and we were staying with my aunt, and it was really hot that summer, and so you couldn't really do anything. And after, I don't know, 4 days, I had run out of reading material, and I started to read one of the books my father had brought. Unfortunately, that was, and I don't know, so if that was 25 years ago, I was 22 at the time. No, not 22, I'm stupid. I was 12 at the time. And my father was reading The Perfume by Süskind at the time. I started reading that too, and at one point he realized what I was doing, and he was completely, oh my god, you can't read that. I was a bit miffed because I had kind of enjoyed the story so far. It took me another, I don't know, 7 years or so before I got an edition of The Perfume of my own and read the story, and I didn't like it. Anyway, because I had run out of books to read, we drove to Benidorm, and I happened to find, you know, in a very small shop with a very small collection of books, I happened to stumble across this one, and it was one of the few books that looked promising, and I picked it up, and I loved it. I've reread it so many times, especially the first book in that series, The Unexpected Mrs. Pollifax. It's a spy novel, but a very unusual spy. It's a spy novel. Yeah, a very unusual spy novel, because the central character is a little old lady, and one day Mrs. Pollifax really has enough of meetings with the flower club, and she is widowed too, and she gets really bored, and she actually thinks about suicide. But then she decides, okay, I am going to offer my services to my country, and so she goes and visits the CIA. And it so happens that the CIA, that somebody in the CIA actually thinks she is an agent. She's a real agent, and she gets sent to Mexico City. And it seems to be such an easy thing. She just has to go into a shop and get a package, and it seems very easy, but then it gets very complicated, and she is abducted, and she is tracked to a completely different country altogether, and there she is imprisoned together with a man, and it's a very fun book. She is a wonderful character. She tries to connect with people, and she typically finds connections, and even when she's in prison, she befriends her prison wardens, and this is one of the reasons why she eventually manages to flee. It's such a great series, and I had quite a few of them in German, and so I decided I would try and get them all in English so I can read the original story, and I started doing that, and it's just as good as it was 25 years ago when I read it for the first time. So this is a series I highly recommend. It is a cozy spy novel in many ways, a cozy spy series. And that was it, the first installment in Weekend Reads. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you will join me again when I upload my next video. Bye bye!